Hello and welcome. You are watching a special edition of Business Plus here on News 9 Live. I'm Krishna Kumar and joining me in the studio is Suyash Maheshwari. On this edition of Business Plus, we are first bringing to you the latest as far as India's inflation numbers are concerned and some fantastic news coming in on that front. Inflation for the month of September, the consumer price inflation or CPI has come in at just little over 5%, a good 40 basis points less than what even the analysts on the street were estimating. They were estimating somewhere around 5.4 to 5.5%, but it came in at just a little over 5%, 5.02%. Bear in mind that is much lesser than the previous month, at where it was 6.83%, over 170 basis points as far as the previous month is concerned. For the first time in 3 months, the CPI number, the consumer price inflation number, has come within the RBI's comfort limit, which is 4% plus or minus 2%, and within that for the first time in 3 months. Bear in mind, in the same period for the previous year in 2022, inflation was above the 7% mark, and now it's just a little over the 5% mark. So fantastic news coming in on that front. And the main reason why this number has come in at such a low level is because of one particular item as far as the CPI index is concerned, and that is the vegetable price inflation, which, ladies and gentlemen, has come down from 26% in the month of August, just 3% in the month of September. And that's the reason why that has pulled down the overall inflation, headline inflation number as well, because bear in mind, in everything else from milk to meat and fish and everything else, the inflation number has only gone up. However, on a couple of items like housing price inflation, the inflation number was down. As far as vegetables is concerned, as I told you, completely down, but still cereals, pulses, inflation was up. But it was just that drastic fall in vegetable price inflation that has sort of resulted in an overall fall of the inflation number. Very good news on that front, even as we keep track of inflation cooling down in the US as well. The questions are that now that this number has come down, we hope to keep bringing this number down in India, and the war in Israel, the war that Israel has declared, does not take this number any further. Bear in mind, so much volatility and so many uncertainties surrounding the crude oil, the crude prices. For now, we can definitely heave a sigh of relief. Vegetable prices have cooled down, and hence the consumer price inflation headline number has cooled to just 5.02%. And moving on away from inflation and from all the macro data that came in to corporate results that came in. Bear in mind, IT giants have been announcing the results one after the other. First, it was Infosys today, and after that has been HCL Tech, and HCL Tech 2 has reported second quarter results, earnings, which has been a mixed bag. So that makes it 3 in 3, doesn't it, Suyash? Because TCS had a mixed bag of results, Infosys earlier in the day had a mixed bag of results, and now HCL Tech as well.
You're on point, Krishna. Like, all three companies have given results which are better than the street's expectations as far as profitability concerns, although they have disappointed as far as revenue is concerned. Now, talking specifically about HCL Tech, HCL Tech's net profit revenue figure came in at around 26,672 crore for Q2 FY24, whereas in the previous quarter it stood at about 26,296 crore rupees. Now this is a jump of 1.4%, whereas street had pegged it at 2.4% quarter on quarter increase. Net profit figure, Krishna, on the other hand, came in at 3,832 crore for Q2 FY24, whereas in Q1 it stood at around 3,534 crore, which shows a jump of about 8.4%, which is ahead of the street's expectation, which had pegged the growth in profit to be around the 2.3% mark. Operating margin improved significantly. We have seen a 194 basis point jump in HCL Tech's operating margins from 16.2% in the previous quarter to 18.14% in the quarter. In fact, the margins improvement is better than both Infosys and TCS. Infosys's margin improvement stood at about 35 basis points, whereas HCL reported a margin improvement of about 110 basis points. Now, there is also some guidance coming coming in from the company. HCL Tech has lowered its FY24 revenue guidance from 6 to 8% year on year to about 4 to 5%. So there is adjustment on both the lower band of the expectation and the upper band of the expectation. It has also lowered the services guidance to 4.5 to 5.5% on a year on year basis. It has although retained the EBIT margin guidance at 18 to 19%. And if you look at
that is operating margins that you're talking about when it comes to EBIT, the margins.
Exactly, Krishna. Also, if we look at the results, the company has also announced a dividend of about 12 rupees per share.
All right, 12 rupees per share as well. So in that sense, guidance too has been muted, just like Infosys.
Yes, they have reduced the guidance. As I said, they have adjusted both the lower band and the upper band. The guidance in the previous quarter stood at about 6 to 8% revenue guidance in constant currency terms, whereas it has been lowered to 4 to 5% on a year-on-year basis. Now, this could be a major dampener for the stock going ahead, because in fact, even though the company has won a lot of contracts in the quarter gone by, the realization is only expected to trickle in from FY25. So perhaps FY24 will not benefit from that mega deal wins that we saw in the previous quarter.
Right. So two realities playing out in IT. Mega deal wins in the last 1 to 2 months. At the same time, lots of talk about a muted / washout of a FY24 and all hopes being pinned on FY25. But before we wrap this up quickly, I had to ask you about the stock, HCL Tech stock. What do you think is going to happen once it opens for trade tomorrow morning?
HCL Tech stock has seen a significant correction in the lead up to the Q2 results. It was down about 1.8% yesterday. Today, in fact, it was also down about 1.75%. In fact, if you look at the expectations, HCL Tech was expected to outperform both TCS and Infosys in this quarter, but the stock in the run-up to the Q2 results has seen the biggest decline. We also saw a decline across, across stocks in the IT pack. In fact, TCS also saw a decline of about 1.8%. Infosys also corrected by about 1.9% in today's trade, and was the biggest drag on the index in today's trade, where Nifty index fell, Nifty IT index fell about 1.6%.
So, right, the IT pack in India has been under pressure, and with these mixed bag of results. So, in that sense, Suyash, when you talk to people, if you're talking to people tomorrow morning, now you have the big trend that's out as far as India's IT results. So, in that sense, that news is going to be digested by the markets going forward. How do you expect the IT pack to play out in the coming weeks?
See, as far as the numbers go, the expectation has largely been absorbed in the prices, because it was expected to be a muted quarter like Q1. So I think as far as it missing the street's expectation, I don't think on the revenue front we won't see any major sort of a correction. But at the same time, we also need to look that the profitability has improved. The company, even though it could not realize those profits from that mega deal win, it has worked on cost optimization, and it has streamlined its processes, where we are seeing a good bit of a jump in profitability in both net profit figures as well as in margins.
So you're saying that you still can be cautiously optimistic as far as the IT pack is concerned?
Cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, we also need to understand what the management has to say about the results, because despite the results being a mixed bag, profitability going up, revenue coming down, the guidance has been muted, and a significant cut on from both Infosys and HCL Tech could be a major overhang on the stock, at least for the next few days.
All right, could be a major overhang on the stocks. And with that, we've completely run out of time here on this edition of special edition of Business Plus. Thank you so much for watching. With that, it's a wrap here from our side. Keep watching News9 Live. Literally every major power in the world is gearing up with its own digital currency. And so is India. But India's UPI has taken digital transactions to the next level. So, with UPI already available, what exactly is the use case for the e-rupee?
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT. News 9 Plus, download now.
मैं तो चलिया विदेश
No, it's not a story of diversity in India. It's about a burning desire to leave the country, whatever it takes.
जो मिट्टी वाला जो टंकी है ना जे इंग्लैंड में है सभी और कनाडा में भी है जी सभी फैमिली। साथ वाली बाइट में है वो इंग्लैंड में है अभी। वो जो बाज बैठा हो ना जहाँ ईगल, वो लड़का डिपोर्ट होकर आया ऐसे अब 20 साल बाद।
They polish their English and sometimes adapt a British or American twang.
जासू, बोंजोर, भुजू, ओला।
My name is Surina. I want to go to apply for Australia.
To earn enough for a luxurious life.
पाजी मैं तो चलिया कनाडा
But this dream comes at a price. Often dreamers end up paying for it with their lives.
Whenever anything happens, right, there will be very dark underbelly of it.
You're aware of these donkey routes and donkers where people are getting money, selling their lands, putting things in mortgage in India and giving it to people who are acting as middlemen and consultants to ship them to various countries.
The number has increased a lot. If I see a data from the government sources, 3,000 plus was in 2016 only for USA. It jumped to 16,000, 4 times more than that in the last year, into 2020 you can say. Punjab and Haryana are the topmost 2 states, and both of them are very rich and fertile in agricultural production.
Broadly, Punjab is divided into 3 regions: the Malwa, the Doaba and the Majha. Traditionally, Malwa has larger land holdings and businesses have prospered. The residents of Majha have smaller holdings and a more radical mindset. Doaba is the region that's inhabited by wealthy traders and has been the hub for a thriving illegal immigration business started almost 50 years ago.
I am currently standing at the bus stand area of Jalandhar, also known as the NRI Hub. This has more than 946 immigration companies, aisle center and air ticketing offices. Now speaking to people from the ground as well as law enforcement officials in Jalandhar, we have come across few interesting developments in the recent years, especially after the pandemic. First, there has been at least 40% increase in the last 1 year when it comes to illegal immigration across Punjab. Second, a 25% increase in the dropout rate. Children have been dropping out, especially in the higher education category, as it has seeped inside their minds that this land of 5 rivers has nothing to offer when it comes to job prospects or any other alternative career they want to pursue.
पॉलिटिशियन इतनी गंदी है और नशा इतना बढ़ चुका है, उसकी वजह से सभी बाहर जा रहे हैं और किसी को जॉब नहीं मिल रही। पढ़ भी ले रहे हैं अच्छे लोग, जो हमारे जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट होशियारपुर है ना, होशियारपुर पढ़े लोगों की पूरे पंजाब में माना जाता है। जहाँ से मैंने मेरे मासी का लड़का था, उसका दोस्त था एक, जॉर्जिया में रह रहा था, तो उसने बोला भाई अगर तुम जहाँ पे आएगा तो जहाँ से तुम आगे शायद मूव हो जाएगा, आगे को जा सकता है, बेटर अपॉर्चुनिटी है जहाँ पे। मैंने उस टाइम मुझे भी नहीं मालूम था। चलो उसके बाद 4.5 लाख रुपया ला के मैंने स्टडी के लिए वहाँ पे गया और 6 महीने की स्टडी की वहाँ पे। तो उसके बाद चलो मैं अभी स्टडी भी ख़त्म हो चुकी, तो फिर भी जॉब उधर ट्राई करने लगा, तो जॉब भी नहीं मिली। तो एजेंट को 3000 दिया और उसके बाद मैंने बस के नीचे इलीगल रास्ते से इस्तांबुल गया। और जो बस का रास्ता था वो इतना डिफ़िकल्ट था जाने के लिए, क्योंकि बस के नीचे था, सीटों के नीचे था और वो बहुत डेंजरस था। बाद हम फिर इस्तांबुल गए। इस्तांबुल हमने कम से कम 25 डेज़ वहाँ पे स्टे किया। उसके बाद उन्होंने शिफ्ट आगे कर दिया, एक इलीगल रास्ते से ही जा रहे थे हम। छोटी वैन के अंदर 40 बंदे थे जैसे ऐसे कम। तो उन्होंने हमारे ग्रीस को बॉर्डर के पास ले गए और वहाँ पे जो स्पीड बोट की वजह से वहाँ से उन्होंने पार लगा दिया। और वहाँ भी डिफ़िकल्ट था, दलदली रास्ता था, ख़तरा था, भूखे थे और बहुत तकलीफ़, जंगल से जा रहे थे ना, बहुत मुश्किल था। तुर्की और ग्रीस का बॉर्डर क्रॉस करके हम ग्रीस में एंटर हुए। तो उसके बाद हमें पुलिस वहाँ पे किसी ने लड़के ने देखा और पुलिस को इन्फॉर्म किया, वहाँ के लोकल आदमी ने। तो हमें पुलिस पकड़ के ले गई और सेंटर में ले गई, जहाँ पे उनको लेके इलीगल पर्सन को लेके जाते हैं। वहाँ पे ले जाकर उन्होंने हमारे फिंगर लिए और हमें छोड़ दिया और भूखे छोड़ दिया। हम बहुत बुरा हाल था हमारा। उसके बाद हम अलेक्जेंड्रोपोली गए, वहाँ पे ट्रेन लेने के लिए, वहाँ पे एथन में जाना था। एजेंट से बात की, वो बोलता हमें इटली भेज देंगे आपको। मेरा मेन मोटिवेट तो यही था भाई चलो यूके जाना है, वहाँ पे अच्छी इंग्लिश भी बोलते हैं। मेन पॉइंट तो ये था, इंग्लिश बोलते हैं वो। 3200 और 500 देकर वहाँ स्पीड बोट से वहाँ पे गए और इतना ख़तरा था कि इटली में जब हम एंटर, वहाँ थोड़ी दूर से हो गए, जैसे 50 किलोमीटर की, और लहरें इतनी थी कि हम डूबने से बच गए भगवान की कृपा से, जो भी रब ने कृपा हुई है ना। मेन टारगेट तो हमें यूके जाना था। तो ट्रेन पकड़ी वहाँ से और पेरिस गए, पेरिस से डंकरिक गए। बहुत ट्राई की, हम एक दफ़ा पास भी हो गए थे कैले में, फ्रांस में, और एक दफ़ा तो हम पास हो गए और डुबर में पहुँच गए इंग्लैंड में। तो उधर डुबर में उन्होंने पकड़ वापस वो सी पोर्ट में ही पकड़ा था, तो उन्होंने वापस हमें इधर फ्रांस में कैले में भेज दिया। तो मैंने सोचा चलो मन बनाया, मैं जाना तो था, इतना टाइम ख़राब हो रहा है, पैसे भी चाहिए थे। तो उसके बाद मैंने चलो हाँ कर दी और स्विट्ज़रलैंड के लिए चला गया।
Despite the hardships he has faced on these illegal migration attempts and being scammed by immigration agents, Yuvraj still has a burning aspiration to settle in the UK. Unfortunately, his latest attempt to move to Birmingham has failed again.
हम लोगों ने उन्हें पहले ही बोल दिया था कि हमें बर्मिंघम यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए अप्लाई करना है, तो उन्होंने बोला कि ठीक है हम करेंगे। बट बाद में क्या हुआ, हम जैसे जैसे उन्होंने पैसे मांगे, हम लोगों ने पैसे दिए, सब कुछ दिया, ऐसे ही टालते रहे हमें। फिर उसके बाद क्या हुआ, एक दिन हमने कॉल करी, तो जो नंबर हम कॉल कर रहे थे किसी एजेंट ने उठाया, लड़की थी वो, उसने बात करी, हम लोगों ने बात करी, तो उसने क्या किया, हमारा फ़ोन कट कर दिया और हमारा नंबर ब्लॉक कर दिया। तो वहाँ पे गए तो हम लोगों ने उनसे बात करी कि नहीं, हमें अपना केस जो है वापस लेना है। फिर 2-3 महीने ऐसे ही हमें मतलब लटकाते रहे। उसके बाद जब मेरे हस्बैंड गए तो उनको 3 लाख में से सिर्फ 1,25,000 जो वो उन्होंने अमाउंट दिया।
Do you still want to go?
I want to go again in UK because the last time I failed, so I just want to go again.
The World Development Report 2023 says low-skilled workers from India who migrate to the US witness a jump in income of around 500%, followed by the UAE at 300%.
It's just a craze. I think most what we've seen is that northern Gujarat is more, and I would also say pockets of Kutch are where people go to foreign countries illegally. Like there, of course, from all over Gujarat, people are going to all these places, but it's more in a legal, streamlined way. The illegal part, I think, is more from northern Gujarat, like Banaskantha, Sabarkantha, Aravalli, all those places.
At the mercy of unscrupulous agents, their journeys are often riddled with deceit and death.
BrahMos, stealthy, lethal, precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors, and they are turning to the BrahMos for protection. The Warship Killer. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
They picked my husband. He was tortured there for 2 years. He was enforced disappeared. We had no idea where he is. Within 15 minutes, we got the information that the whole area is surrounded by Pakistan Army. I came out from that in disguise, and after 5-6 hours, I was in Kandahar. I don't have any message for Pakistan. There is no politician in Pakistan. They are puppets of Pakistan Army.
Streaming now. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि सभी लोग कर रहे हैं.
Coaching is now starting from grade 3, 4, 5, 6.
होता जाने वाली बीच राह में आधे टेस्ट देके हैं सिलेक्शन की चाह में.
ऑल इंडिया का बच्चा कोटा जाता है.
This rat race is for rats, not for humans. So why should we even be a part of it?
The Rat Race. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now. China won't let us rest easy on our borders, but they will keep flooding our markets. What does Xi Jinping really want?
I think he wants the Indian market, no doubt about it.
It's really a matter of showing their dominance.
India's great Chinese conundrum.
Nobody can contain it. Not the United States, not China, not anybody else.
Frenemies. This and more